Hi there, it's Kareem from Keeper's Nursery. Today is the 23rd of March 2025 and I've finished for the season. Hooray! I've made it through another season of selling trees. So basically the dormant season has come to end more or less. As you can see behind me, some things are already in flower. Those are the cherry plums. Those are really the first flowers of the season. So this is a very transitional time of the year in the nursery. I've stopped sending trees out and instead I'm sort of focusing on getting things ready for next season and the season after that. So that includes I've finished planting all of the rootstocks. Those will be sold. Those are going to be trees that are going to be grafted this summer, and those will be sold from December 2026. And then I'm also heading back the trees which were grafted last summer, and they will be sold from December 2025. All exciting stuff. Relies a lot on the weather being nice. Also, we do need rain, but what can you do? I mean, people are quite happy that it's nice and warm in England right now. Generally speaking, it's well over 15 degrees a lot of the days now, which for most people is pretty heavenly. It is a lovely time of the year. There is unfortunately a very funky smell in the air. Some local farmer has I think upwind from us, unfortunately, has fertilize their farm with what smells like chicken manure, and when the prevailing wind comes, it absolutely stinks the place out. So we're actually it's nice when there's a cold north wind, because that actually gives us fresh air. So I'm going to go around the nursery today. I've got my new fancy phone. My old phone got pinched at a rock concert the other day, but anyway, my new fancy phone, hopefully the sound quality is better, maybe even the picture quality is better. I'll just show you what I do at this time of the year. It's a bit of fun. Sorry I haven't done many videos recently. It's been a hectic winter. I barely get time to sort of think about doing videos. But to be fair, the winter all I'm doing is digging up trees and packing them and sending them out. There's nothing that interesting. Maybe it's interesting for you. I'm just basically working non-stop, and back in the house, look after the kids, make some dinner, try and get everyone to sleep, wake up in the middle of the night about 6 times with the twins. So yeah, apologies, I'm not doing a lot of videos. So hopefully this video is going to be enjoyable. I'll just try and cover everything I can as to what I'm doing at this time of the year, so you can sort of get an insight as to what I'm doing. Let's go around. So you can see there, that's one of the nice cherry plums. There's a nice pink cherry plum as well there, and there's the view. So I'm just in the barn right now. These are the last few trees. These are all just going to be given away to the local school or wherever. There's some plums in here as well. Hello. And as we come to here, these are my apple seedlings. Looking good. I've got to actually reorganize them, because although they are all sort of individually labeled, this is a Del Prim crossed with a Riker. There's a bit of what looks like sort of sunburn on these. It does get hot in here. It's under plastic. Oh, I've caught a mouse. Hello. So yeah, my concern at this time of the year is mice maybe getting them, also the heat. But yeah, lots and lots of seedlings, probably about 500 of them in here in total. But yeah, I need to actually reorganize them before basically their roots go through the bottom there. I mean, it's obviously not going to happen now. This took a long time repotting these. They were repotted twice to this point. But yeah, before their roots start going through, I've got to get them in order. So this is sort of an Epicure St Edmunds Pippin. What else have we got here? Freiburg Riker. All these interesting crosses. Who are you? Gold Rush Riker. So that's the same as a Primrose Pippin. These are all Gold Rush Rikers. That was a chance cross, which turned out to be quite interesting. Loads of Gold Rush Rikers around here. So, top stuff in here. I've got to organise this. My son likes coming in here and making... this is his building site with his, what he calls his tonka, as opposed to his digger, but he loves it. All right, I'm going to go to the other barn. So actually, in my little grow room, what have I got in here? Still no drugs, unfortunately. Sorry, folks. I've got all my figs growing. These are just very easy things to grow. These cuttings, basically, you cut the end of a fig when it's dormant, and you wrap it up in grafting tape to stop it drying out. You put it in soil. You can also sort of scrape. I do scrape the bottom off and add some rooting hormone to that. These are mulberries next door, so these are some trial mulberries that I did, which look quite good. The figs I think do better. There's some white figs and some brown, the brown turkey one. These are just some cucumbers and things. Unfortunately, I am somehow getting slugs in here, so I've put some slug pellets down. But yeah, the don't know if these are rooting through, but yeah, I mean mulberries, they're all in the same family, so I believe they should work quite well. But I'll pot these on soon. But yeah, these are fun. Woo, grow light. Yeah, so here's some nice blossom. Nice cherry plum blossom. This one doesn't actually produce fruit, but it's one that someone sent me, and we grafted it, and yeah, every year it greets us. I'm not the biggest fan of sort of the garish pink. I prefer the white blossom, but actually looking at that, it is pretty stunning. It just sort of stands out more. I know that people like pink, but it's a little bit unnatural. I prefer white. Sorry. Yeah, I got through quite a lot of wood this winter, but I have a lot more. I'll survive. Yeah, loads more wood. I'll be fine for ages. This is actually nicely. I split all of this before I stacked it. Makes it much easier to use. So into the barn we will go. So I wanted to show at this time of the year. This is my new baby, my Celli spading machine. So not many people in Britain actually use spading machines, but this is what I've invested in instead of ploughing my field every year, where basically I get someone in with a proper tractor, with a big arable tractor. The spading machine, you can sort of see these spades, there's 6 spades, and it basically, each one sort of rotates. They're on these sort of, I don't know what to call it. They just go up and down and they spin round and round, and they basically dig out the ground. And so I will spray strips of ground off rather than spraying off. I'm a farmer. Farmers got to use herbicides. I hate it or love it, but basically, a large area used to get sprayed off in the autumn, and we would just get it ploughed, and then in the spring we would, before planting, we would hope that it was dry enough so we could whack a power harrow on. Not my diddy little power harrow. And a power harrow has got these little teeth in that spin around and around like this, like helicopters. They rotate round and round and round, and then basically you get a fine tilth. That was done with a big one, so that was quite tricky work because we needed quite dry weather. It was quite stressful. This year would have been lovely because it was so dry. The spading machine, I can just spray off individual strips, leaving most of the ground actually intact. I can do the spading much later in the year. So basically the soil's not damaged. Hooray! The farm will last longer, hopefully, with this nice Italian machine. And yeah, so this is what I used this year, and it worked really, really well. Good stuff, I reckon. And then that's now oiled up and will be sitting there until I use it next year. Huzzah! A log splitter, a must-have for anyone who uses a wood-burning stove, because this thing can just go through wood for fun. I mean, axes are fun, but yeah, I need my energy for other things. Definitely get a log splitter. They're not that expensive, and I mean, people will want you to come around their house and split logs for them as well all the time. It's a pretty easy thing to use. You just set it up on your hydraulics on a tractor. You lift these up and that goes down. I can't remember how many tons of pressure it has, but there's very few things it can't split through. Just don't split through your foot, because that would be bad. So at this time of the year, we've also got the almonds in flower. We've got peaches in flower back there, and there are some apricots. All the sort of slightly more exotic exotic fruits. So out in the nursery now, these are rows. Up here there's cherries and plums. These have all been sort of topped back. Hopefully, okay, we found a nice one. There we go, ding dong. So you can see where the body tape is still there. This was probably cut, the top was probably cut off within the last week, so it's sort of healing. And you can see the bud there, and that will grow. And this is a Cordon castle which someone's ordered. And you can see this is all rootstock growth at the bottom. I'll leave it on for a bit and then I'll cut those off, so that basically the only thing really growing from this will be this Cordon castle bud. And believe it or not, although the rootstock is at this stage 3 years old, in its 4th year the rootstock is already quite well established, because it's been in the ground for a year. And believe it or not, this single bud will grow over sort of 7 foot this year, and will shoot up here. And this entire row, I'll cane these soon if the ground's nice and wet. So here I've got to clear up some of the tops, but yeah, these will all be massive. And as we get down into the other rows, there's loads more. I don't know how many I did actually this year, or last year even, probably 7,000 trees, something like that. They're lovely at this time of the year. Need dry weather to cut the tops off. My daughter actually helped clear some of these off in exchange for Power Rangers comics. So yeah, getting the kids working in the farm. So here we are down in the apples. What was interesting was last year, this entire row here and this row here is a slightly bigger gap here. There's about a 3-meter gap, so that these grow. These are actually my seedlings. These are all on M9 rootstocks. Quite a lot of them actually, the buds actually sprouted last year straight after budding. Far more of the seedlings than sort of, if you look in a row of like regular varieties, let's call them, although these are my seedlings, these are all primrose pippin trees, or seedling 82. I've produced tons of them to sell this year. Yeah, loads and loads of these actually sprouted last year, which is quite annoying because they come out at funny old angles. But yeah, we can straighten these up with canes. It was very hard to plant last year. That's why so many of these rootstocks are wonky. It was a horrible wet spring. Everyone struggled to plant. This is another row of M9s, which are all seedling varieties. So there's about 600 seedling varieties in here. These should hopefully flower. When will they flower? So they'll be 1-year-olds this year. They're not going to flower this year. Some might even flower next year, but definitely in the summer of 2027 they will flower. I think a few of them, because I took them from the tips and they were about 2 meters tall. Interesting stuff. These are just where I had to plant them in double rows. I prefer doing double rows. So this here is an example of what the spading machine was doing. So in the middle, the grass is completely undisturbed, which is great for the soil, and just these sort of 1.4 meter strips were spaded and then power harrowed, and everything is nicely planted. We just need some rain to yeah, help these rootstocks along, or I will get the irrigation out here. But yeah, I accidentally ordered too many rootstocks this year, so there's probably about 8,000 or so trees, which I'm going to have fun trying to sell. I do usually sell most of what I produce, which is quite good. I don't actually understand how I get away with it every year, but I seem to. These are apples down here. So most rootstocks that you buy are 2-year-old rootstocks. Some of them are 1-year-olds, like these M26s, I think, are all 1-year-olds. They just have less roots on, but in the end they all catch up. But yeah, rootstocks, when you buy a maiden tree from us, the root is sort of 3 or 4 years old and the top's just 1-year-old. That's what we mean. So this row is great because I can now drive up and down in my tractor without basically compressing the ground. There's also all the undisturbed life underneath the soil here, because yeah, I mean, this soil, which has been spaded and then it has sort of been power harrowed, I mean, it will be fine. It's just, it's not yeah, if you can avoid it without plowing the entire field, great. And yeah, I mean, most people plow in this country and that's fine. It's just tiny little improvements. I learnt from my friend Thomas in France that spading machine might be the way forward. Yeah, you got to adapt, you got to see what you can do. Hopefully it also means that if I want to, it's all in my hands. I can do it if the weather's not playing ball. So if it's too wet, I can get my diddy little tractor on a field up rather than a big arable tractor. But it also means that oh, there are some bees around. It also means that basically I can do individual rows wherever I want to. So down here, I needed to, when I realized, I'll be honest, I didn't order that. I'd cancelled a lot of I changed the orders around, and unfortunately the the things that were sent was sort of an amalgamation of what I wanted and what I had cancelled, and I just had to plant them all. I had to find somewhere to plant them, so I quickly managed to basically repurpose some land down here and plant more trees down in this section, and I think I've basically got away with it. So here we've got, so up here, this is my row of seedlings. So these are now 1-year-old apple seedlings coming into their 2nd year. A lot of leaf buds. I will double check when I go through to see if any flower buds. So these will only be, these have only grown for a year. And you can see how sort of feral these things are. Crikey, look at all these side branches, and they're all completely sort of horizontal side branches, sort of protective spiky things. Not a lot of, or if any, flower buds on these. These are the original trees on the other side. I've left them actually another year. I keep meaning to get rid of them, but I'm curious to see if any of them will actually flower this year. But yeah, you can see how sort of feral and horrible these things like these are actually completely. It's just so that if a browsing sort of herbivore comes along, he's trying to sort of, he'll munch this, but he won't bother munching this, so that means the tree will survive. And a lot of them are multi-stemmed as well. So anyway, I repurposed down here. These are 2 rows of M9s, which I'll plant, I guess, about 550 seedlings on. Nice and straight-ish. We plant by hand rather than a machine, because that's the only job I hire someone in for. I've got some Ukrainian friends who'll come in for about a week, and we plant all these by hand. We do sort of, we can do 2,000 trees a day, but that's really pushing it. Instead we do about 1,500. And then down here we've got some other trees. These are sort of pyrodwarfs, which are for a local collector. He wants about 170 different varieties of pears. Yeah, so that was the benefit of the spading machine. Bish bash bosh, I quickly was able to whack these rows out. This was actually where some trees were growing last year, but we'll get away with it, I reckon. And the other job that I do at this time of the year is just, once I've finished, so this was a row of trees that I sold this year, dug them all out basically, I sold them. The odd ones are up in the barn now. Just power harrow the land, and that will grass over, and then that will just become part of the fallow field, which I've got lots of fallow land, which is quite good. I've probably got about 5 different plots in the nursery now, of which I only need 2 in use at any time, which is really good. Over here we've got our cordons. These are our mother trees. So these are seedling varieties. Okay, that's Hamid's red pippin. So I've already got 5 of these in the rows, but I just want to plant more of these because this is one of my seedling varieties. So this is named after my my father, who sadly passed away approximately six years ago to this day. Actually, we're going to go visit his grave later today. But he, yeah, this is a lovely new apple. This was available this year to buy for the first time. More of them available next year. This is an amalgamation of 2. That's seedling 78 with seedling 90 on top. 90 is the new sort of acidic one. I just grafted a big old branch on top of that, so that will be all right. 82, which is known now as Primrose Pippin trademark. There's quite a lot of 82s in here. I just want to get loads of fruit. Yeah, this is another Primrose Pippin. Here there was actually a large row of medlars. They're all sort of unnamed. They're called like Swiss 1 and Swiss 2 and up to about Swiss 20. Gosh, it was hard work digging them out. They're all on Crataegus. I realized the best way to dig out, I mean, people have dug out trees, I'm sure, and realize it's hard, but if you want to dig out a tree that looks like this, you know, this, daddy, and you have to dig it out, I've realized the best way to do it is, yes, you need a spade, yes, you need a lot of effort to dig it out, but you need an axe as well. Just get a little, like, a little hand matic-y axe thing, because you can just go to make it sharp, and you can go to town on those horrible roots that are in the ground, and basically you find that you can just quickly get them out of the ground. Otherwise, with the spade, you're just literally just killing your foot. Here's my little sort of, oh, it's horrible looking. This makes me ill looking at this terrible little row, but this is where I just chucked some spare trees that I needed to keep. I am going to do a little video about, these are some fans and some stepovers that I saved. Gosh, they look terrible. Yeah, those I'm going to do a little video about later. My wife's calling me, so I'm just going to wrap up the video shortly. Hey, another row of stuff that actually should be in the cordon rows, but I'm going to make a new cordon row again using my spading machine, because I can basically, instead of getting a big old plow in, which, as you know, with plows, it sort of turns the soil over, takes it from one bit, moves it to the other bit. The spading machine just goes in a row, also doesn't create a pan. All very good stuff. Almost finished with the video. This down here, this has all been power harrowed. I was promised rain and there's no rain. You should really only do this when you know there's rain coming, because otherwise it just all turns to dust, and it's it's not going to grass over as easily. But yeah, it looks like we're in a bit of a funk in terms of the rain. Down there's a row of seedlings. I will finish this off with the old seedlings, and we're by the road, but it's Sunday morning, so it shouldn't be too noisy. No apples to try. Everyone loves these rows of apples, I'm sure, but yeah, no apples to try today. So yeah, my original seedlings, which I did from yonks ago, about 10 years ago now, they're all doing well. Ta-da! Over here, they're apparently I didn't prune them this year. I pruned them really hard the other year, and then I barely got any fruit from some of my favorites, which was pretty thick. Anything that's staked, I should have staked some more this year, but anything that's staked is something of particular value. Seedling 24, which has got a 4 out of 5 on. Oh, that's pretty cool. I will go through and check these for flowers later and work out. So they're all an M9, and if you are growing M9s, remember to stake them, because their roots are, dwarf roots are basically weak rubbish roots, and yeah, that's what happens to them. This is the original, this is 73, so that's the original Hamid's Red Pippin tree. Loads and loads of flower buds, as you can see on there, so you should get a good crop on it. This is the Bethan tree, 77. Nice number of flower buds on it as well. 79 is really interesting. I've grown some of these this year. 79 will hopefully have more flower buds. It's quite congested in there next to 78. This is 82. Loads of flower buds on this one this year. Last year I didn't get much fruit on it, which was annoying. Yeah, I need to stake out 90, and then there's a few more down there. So that's it really. I'm gonna go down to the church now. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. I'll do more videos this year with my Swish new camera phone, or phone as they're called, with a camera. But yeah, there's going to be loads more seedling stuff this year. I will hopefully do that video about training espaliers once you've bought an espalier and you want to sort of do the next thing, because there's constantly things to do with them. Yeah, thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you have a good weekend and everything. Bye bye.